My name is Divine, and I am an ATL cosplayer. I started cosplaying about maybe 2 to 3 years ago. Just kind of fell into it, and I've been doing it ever since. I think one of the first characters that I ever dressed up as was X-Men Storm, and it wasn't just because she was an African American character. It was more because of the history of the character, and I just felt more connected with Storm. What really drew me to her character was the costumes, and I always felt like there was never enough occasions to wear capes. So when I saw that Storm wore cape and boots, I was like, yeah, that's the character for me. However, when I first cosplayed her, it was a really basic cosplay that you just kind of put together based on her exact character. It wasn't me. I couldn't really embody the character at all. But I kind of rocked it at the con and just wasn't feeling it. And then it hit me. Punk rock Storm is more me. So that's how I became Punk rock Storm. My other characters are Garnet from Steven's Universe on Cartoon Network. And I love doing her. I love making that costume. I love putting all the pieces together, finding the boots, customizing the boots to match the top. And what I love most about Garnet is that when I'm dressed as Garnet, kids are so happy. They just love being with her. So yeah, Garnet rocks too. Lately, I have been craving to be a character who carries a weapon. A big part of the cons are taking pictures, of course, and you have to take your photograph posing in character. And with Garnet and Storm, it's like hands up, hands down. I didn't have a prop. I didn't have anything to hold, and I would see these people with these big magnificent swords and guns and all types of props, and I never had anything. So I decided to be Lady Punisher so that I could carry some weapons and have guns and be badass. During this photo shoot, I found it very difficult to look mean. I'm not a mean person, but I had a lot of fun playing this type of action figure hero girl. I guess my cosplay journey began when I was a little girl. I was the only child, so I had a lot of time to just be inside my own imagination. And I was a nerdy girl, you know. I didn't know it then, but I was pretty nerdy. I played in the orchestra, and I loved to read. I love books, and I love to draw, and I could just be in my own space in my room for hours being creative. I get in the mirror and sing, of course, to Michael Jackson. You know, my mom was a single mom. She had me at 14. So she was going to school and working pretty much most of, you know, our lives. But she was really cool and really fun and very creative. So, you know, she would play records for me and dance for me, and we would cut up Essence magazines and make collages and hang them on the wall at our house and just get inside our own creative spaces. So, you know, I think that's why I like to dress up now and make clothes and design jewelry and put things together, just because, you know, I spent so much time dreaming about doing that. I also enjoy playing characters from television shows, and I think Angela Bassett from Coven playing Marie Laveau was probably one of my favorite characters. She was very exciting to me. In 2012, my mom passed away suddenly, and after that, I wasn't sure who I was. I mean, I was so just out of it that everything that did make sense to me in life was all just, you know, crazy at that time. And I started to descend into a very, very dark place. I couldn't sleep at night. I didn't go out with my friends. I didn't do anything. And after a while, I was just like, I gotta do something to take my mind off of it. So I would just work on my costumes. I set up a studio in my garage and I would just work on my costumes. And one thing that I do know for sure, that if it wasn't for those costumes and preparing for conventions, that I probably would have lost my mind. I definitely would have. I struggled pretty hard coping with my mother's death. She was young and her passing was so sudden. And I had a difficult time concentrating. I was in school at the time and I was working. And the only time that I didn't feel like I was depressed is when I was working on my costumes or taking pictures or making videos. And I was always amazed at what was coming out of me in my darkest time. I love tattooing just as much as I love cosplaying. I do. And I met Yada and he started tattooing me, and I really started to feel like I was coming back to myself again. my life was turned upside down. And it was hard for me to understand that. It's hard for people to understand this. A lot of people don't understand the amount of time and effort and money that goes into a hobby like this, but I could have spent the same amount on therapy. What I've learned from all of this is that things happen in life. Sometimes you drop your hat, but you got to pick it up and you got to keep going. You got to keep dancing. You got to keep creating. You got to keep writing. You got to keep producing. You just got to keep going. Don't stop. The art of cosplay saved me because everything I needed was there. Photography, costume design, makeup, friends, endless, infinite possibilities. It was all there for me. When I was alone, I had something that I could do, and it saved me.